Hello and welcome back to the channel, folks. HeirofCarthage here, and I've got something different and special for you today. We're going to be taking a look at an early access title that's out there on Steam called Crossfire Legion. It is being developed by Blackbird Interactive, who is the same company who worked on Homeworld Deserts of Karak. That was actually really fun for me and was actually quite popular on the channel a while ago, so I'm excited to see anything that comes from Blackbird, because I've really enjoyed what they've done so far. So when they asked me to showcase for you all a new game they're working on, I was excited to jump in and show it because I've really liked their work in the past. I'm going to jump into a little bit more details about the background of the game, the factions, and then you'll be able to see my gameplay in the background while I do all this. However, I want to tell you all that this game is available on demo right now, February 21st through February 28th. You can access it by going to the link down in the description and go try it out, because they are looking for feedback on the game. They know that if they want to be able to make an awesome game, they're going to need feedback, and that's why it's in a demo phase. There's going to be another demo coming in April. So you're going to have a couple of opportunities to play the demo and to give the developers feedback in this early access phase before the main release. So go check it out right now. Go click that link. It's a fun RTS game. I know that those of you on my channel enjoy RTS. I enjoy RTS, so it's a fun free demo to go play. Check it out. Now, those of you who watch me know that I sometimes struggle with speed, but that's what this game is all about. It's a fast-paced action game. It's oriented towards fast game. They don't want you to be sitting around bored with like 40, 50 minutes of base building and stuff like that. They want you to have a good time and play fast. It's got a card roster system. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it later. But basically, you create your army before you jump into a match. So that's what's going to make this fairly unique. And the more you play, you get more money, and you can customize those units and make it even more tailored to the strategies that you like. And again, the game is in early access, so again, go click that link, go play a fun game, give the developers some feedback, and help shape an awesome RTS game that you may be able to spend years enjoying in the future. I know I'm having fun playing around with it, so I'm going to jump in, talk to you a little bit more about the background for the game and the factions, and then we'll talk about the gameplay that's going on in the background. So, what is Crossfire Legion? It's born from a hugely successful Asian free-to-play FPS game, Crossfire, which is actually one of the most played games of all time by player count. It's gone on to become a huge media franchise in China and South Korea, and they've even done films and TV shows. Now, I'm not really familiar with it, but Crossfire Legion is going to take this, and they're going to expand on that universe into the RTS gaming genre. So, what is the game about? Well, Crossfire Legion is a story about two competing ideologies as they battle for global influence and control of Earth's resources. However, the traditional two factions that they've been in the game are now going to be joined by a third, which should really shake things up. Now, they plan that the story are going to be told in single-player campaigns over 4 acts. However, the game is primarily focused on the fast-paced multiplayer games. Now, the 3 factions in the game, I just want to talk about them a little bit so you can get a feel for what they are going to be like. The first one is the faction I'm playing as. It's Global Risk. They're a mercenary organization commissioned by world governments to settle global cases and disputes while maintaining their control over the planet's resources. Their strategy relies on maintaining distance. They're going to have a lot of range fire. They have a wide range of specialized units. And when you use them right in a combined arms, it's going to be very deadly for other people to deal with. Basically, you're going to have to use their numbers and kind of the relentless nature and the amount of units they can use. So that's kind of the play style that they're going to be all about. I'm playing against a faction called New Horizon, and apparently, intentionally, not much is known about them, because their origins are a bit shrouded in mystery, so make it a bit fun for me. However, New Horizon, they specialize in extreme power and durability. They're slow, and their units are expensive, so they can take on, my units, though, probably in a 2-to-1 just fine. So it's going to be a little bit different now. Of course, the third faction you're not going to see here in this video at the moment, but it's called Blacklist. They're a secretive breakaway mercenary group, and they are a fast-moving, hard-hitting faction, and they need speed and guerrilla tactics. So they're going to be a lot of hit and run, a lot of trickiness involved in their factions. So 3 different factions, a lot of interesting stuff going on there. Now, what's going to make this game unique amongst other RTS games, and some of you may notice that it actually kind of looks similar in some ways to StarCraft, but again, what's going to make it unique is that it's going to have a map-making tool. There's going to be commanders with unique abilities, which sounds like a lot of fun. And then they're also going to have a card system where you kind of pick your cards before the battle and you have to plan out how you're going to use that in terms of strategy for the units that it allows you to build and the abilities it gives you. So it's going to take a little bit of a classic genre and a classic look that you see here and mix it up with a bit of something new. All right, well, that's quite a bit of background. There's some action going on in this battle that I was playing here. Again, I am playing against New Horizon. These are the guys that are a little bit slow, more expensive. But you can see when they got up close to my guys, they absolutely wrecked me. I was using a leader ability here, so you can see that in action. I was a little bit slow to deploy it, though, unfortunately. Lucky for me, my turrets and my leader ability managed to drive back that early attack there because I was in some pretty serious trouble. Now you all see that the resourcing here is fairly simple. You need fuel and you need these other resources that are there, the blue, and then the fuel there is the red. So as you gather these resources, you'll notice that there's like smaller sub-bases throughout the map that you'll need to expand to in order to expand your economy further, but the resourcing is really quite simple. You get in there, you can max it out quickly, you can start drawing in resources, and again, this just goes into the fast-paced gameplay. Someone like me, who's not great at fast-paced, I'm going to need a lot of practice, but it's very easy to understand. And then as far as buildings go, in the background, I've been building population buildings. That's these logistics depots for Global Risk, who I'm playing as. That's the building with like a little fan on top. You put in an armory. An armory is going to unlock the hangar and the factory, which is where you're going to bring in your vehicles, and then your aircraft. The barracks is where we're going to get our infantry. So the cards that I can play right now on the early access give me access to rifle troopers, rocket troopers, and then from the factory I get a scout vehicle, kind of like a defensive vehicle, and then a tank. And then from the hangar, I have access to like a strike craft and then a gunship, which is going to be good against blobs of infantry. Again, when the full game releases, there'll be more cards, more units, more ways to customize, 3 leaders to pick from in each faction, so there'll be a whole lot more. Early access is a little more limited, and right now I'm just playing against a bot, by the way. I think you can play against friends in the demo, but right now I'm just playing against a bot because I don't have anybody else playing at the moment that I can play against, and I would probably get my butt kicked anyway. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on in the background. You can build new, more bases. You upgrade at each of your base. There you can see in the menu with the R key. You upgrade your bases and your buildings there. That's how you're able to start fielding better equipment and higher level tech. At the armory, you can make upgrades to your infantry, your vehicles, and your aircraft. So again, a pretty straightforward, easy to understand RTS system of different buildings provide different types of units. You have a population cap, you have resources, and you are attempting to obviously build faster and build smarter than your opponent. But again, the way the resources are set up should make it very fast-paced. I'm going to skip ahead and show you all some of the later gameplay. At this point, I was trying to expand into my 3rd base and resourcing operation, and I've had to fend off several New Horizon attacks at my 2nd resourcing operation, and they've been pretty successful at causing me some damage because early in the game, their units are just so much better than mine, and I'm still trying to build. And here's my 3rd operation. You see I have a couple of turrets there. I was feeling somewhat safe, and here comes New Horizon. They've got a whole bunch of melee infantry. They're pretty tanky, and they're going to come in here and just absolutely start hacking their way through my turrets. And now they're just destroying my resources. My army was at my other base, so I'm having to move my military forces over here. I'm going to get my aircraft after their vehicles, and you can see just how tanky those vehicles are. They have shields and hit points, so you can see it takes me a while to even just punch through their shields. I finally got some rocket troopers on site. They'll be decent against these vehicles. However, that melee infantry is going to shred my rocket troopers and rifle troopers, so I'm going to start throwing more vehicles and aircraft out here in kind of a frantic effort to get these guys off my base. In fact, here in a moment, I'm going to start focusing their vehicles because I don't believe their melee infantry can get after my aircraft. So you're going to see me try and finish off their last vehicle, and this does work. And it's going to drive the AI back temporarily, so I'm able to save my resourcing operation. Not without cost, though. So, let's see what happens a little bit later in the game, too, as I started to try and take the attack to New Horizon.
Gunship here.
I've got a nice, mixed army here with infantry, vehicles, and aircraft, and I spotted some New Horizon troops out near their base, so I'm operating around the middle of the map, pushing north. And this is a lot of melee infantry. I should have tried to just keep my own infantry back so that I could have kept them away from the beating, but my aircraft, especially my heavy aircraft here, those are the Morning Stars, I believe is what they're called. They're really good against blobs of infantry. That's going to be their forte, whereas my gunships are a little bit better against vehicles, I believe. And the tanks, are going to be a little heavier too, but see that the New Horizon units are tough. They are very tough. It takes a considerable beating in order for me to take them down, so I'm going to have to continue to use force of numbers. You can see, however, up at the top right, though, my resourcing operations are solid, and I should be able to continue to crank out units and hopefully just outproduce and outfight my way through. So as I start to get through some of their initial defense units here, I'm going to try and push at their base. You see it's over here. And I don't understand all the New Horizon buildings. They've also got some kind of giant mech there, too, that's honestly looking a little frightening. But it looks like it may not be able to fight against my aircraft, fortunately for me. But I decided to back off, because that's looking a little terrifying there. And I'm going to get some more forces together and go in for another attack. And I'm going to target their resourcing operations this time. See if I can hurt their money. And once we put a hole in their wallet, hopefully we can finish them off.
Course plotted.
I've been using a lot of aircraft, and they've seemed pretty effective so far because the AI keeps producing a decent bit of melee infantry. I come up on a third resourcing operation for them, and I'm going to start taking out the turrets that are defending it. And like I said, I'm going to start trying to put a hole in their pocketbook here and see if that will help me get to victory, because it's off camera, but I've tried a couple of direct assaults on their main base, and I just get beaten back. Their units are too strong. Now this does draw out their armed forces, and they've got some aircraft of their own. They're going to be opposing me, so we're going to have to turn around. You'll see that some of their units are coming through what looks kind of like a cloaking field, and it's because they have some kind of stealth aircraft, a rather large one. I don't know exactly what it does, but it's helping them move under cover. So you can see me still hitting away. I've got some barrage abilities going off on top of their building that's also killing some of their resource harvesters. You can see here that I'm getting hit by that stealth aircraft. They've come up with a number of vehicles, and they also have some gun infantry coming up. So I've got some trouble, and I'm starting to get outnumbered. And although we've caused some good damage, I definitely am not going to be able to finish them off entirely here. So I'm going to do all the damage I can. And I do manage to take out their aircraft, and this begins to scare the New Horizon forces back, which I was pretty happy with. So I go ahead and give them a little bit of chase, and then I decide, you know what, nope, too many there, so I'm going to fall back, and we're going to finish off this base over here, this headquarters that they have set up. And once I finish it off, again, this should put a big hole in their resourcing, and then I'll try and focus on the next one. So when I take this out, we'll generate some more units. I'll try and prevent them from being able to get this resourcing operation back up, and we're just going to slowly work our way through their economy. And all right, again, a little further forward, I'm going to go attack their other resourcing position. You can see I kind of kept my army parked over their third one. Now I'm going to go after their second resourcing position and work my way back to their main base. We're going to work on the turrets first. I expect their armed forces to show up shortly to try and defend this, and there they are, right on cue. So I'm going to continue pouring in fire. Those melee infantry are a threat to my tanks and other ground forces. They're not a threat to my aircraft. So pretty effective so far. I've got this special ground unit here, the Herald. It has like a really cool shield thing that protects other units around it. It's really neat. It's a neat ability there. And then it has an EMP ability too that can be pretty useful. Some of the units have like those nice little sub abilities, and your commander has certain abilities. I've already used mine. It was that bombardment thing. I don't have any more points for it at the moment, so I can't use it as we move in. Now I've cut off their second resourcing. I'm going to start trying to pick at the main base, but honestly, as you all will see here, it's tough going as I try and push into their base. Their units are tough. It's right next to their production facilities. I'm a lot farther away from my production facilities, so I'm going to have to start producing more closer to the front lines. But yeah, I mean, it's tough going. I get in, I cause some good initial damage, but then the New Horizon's going to come out with some pretty stiff resistance. Look at this, here comes a pretty large force on their part, and they're going to absolutely decimate my ground forces here. My tanks and my infantry are going to start getting crapped on. I'm trying to stop it, but there's just too many of them, and they start overwhelming me, and I'm going to start taking a lot of damage. So again, as I'm seeing here, it's like this is going to get to be a very costly attempt. You can see they have even more forces. That one mech is kind of stuck on a building there. So I'll put some feedback whenever I'm playing it that, you know, I've got a little glitch like that where he's getting stuck on the building. So I'm going to have to go back, get my production fired up, and attempt to try and finish this off. I'm going to skip ahead towards way at the end and kind of tell you all how I finally solved this tough nut to crack and see if we can get some victory. After about 5 or 10 minutes of failed attempts to get into the New Horizon base, I kept them off their resourcing, so I know they have to be running short of resources, especially since their units are more expensive. I'm sending some ground units to sit on their old resourcing operation. That's what I was doing right there. And I'm splitting off my aircraft. And I was kind of picking at this mech here. You can see just how strong its shield is. Very strong. So it's an extremely tanky unit. And it's going to be difficult for me to kill. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to pull up here and start whacking some of these buildings that they need. Those are probably population buildings. And this will make it more difficult. So I'm going to move around the edge of their base and kind of just keep picking and prodding at them and seeing if I can cause little bits of damage. Whenever I get into an engagement with ground troops, New Horizon just craps on me. My aircraft seems to be my best bet here. They haven't done well against the aircraft so far. So again, I'm moving in, taking out turrets, take out some of their forces, keep moving around. I keep training more air units as well in the background, and I'll be able to move those forward. But you can see here I'm going after production facilities and buildings. If I can knock those out, because I've taken away a lot of their resources, you could actually see whenever I went just a little further north, their resources are depleted here. So I'm kind of choking them of resources, and if I can keep bleeding them this way, I should be able to get a victory. So again, it looks like their mech can't attack my aircraft. This is really good for me, but it's also so strong that I really just can't do anything to it at the moment, so I'm going to keep focusing other things. These ground vehicles that are shooting at me in the turrets, I'm going to make them a priority. And again, as I rip through these ground buildings, should be able to find success. But just thoughts on the game so far. I'll let you all watch this in the background. It's fun. It's fast-paced. If I was going to play this more, I'm going to need a lot of practice. It's one of those games to where you need to put together some fun strategies on how to build quickly. In some ways, it's got some similarities in my mind to, say, like Age of Empires. You need a build strategy, and then you need to know what units you're going to use and how they match up against your opponent, and then try to do good in terms of getting them up and trying to engage them properly. I'm not playing this game as someone who's a pro, and if any of you do play a lot of RTS games, you're going to know that I'm not a pro, even though I play them a lot. I'm more of a casual gamer who just has a good time. And even though this game is very fast-paced and I think is going to have an excellent competitive element to it, I kind of sit here and I'm enjoying it as a casual too, just because of the simplicity of it. Like, it's a very classic-looking RTS, and it's also a very classic-feeling RTS. And there's some part of that I just really enjoy because I've been playing strategy games for a very long time. And it's similar in some ways to Deserts of Karak with the simplicity of the resourcing. And I also like that. It's pretty simple for a new player to understand. You got resources, you got fuel. You know, pretty basic. The resources are there. It's not like this crazy hunt across the map for the resources. That part's been simplified, and it looks to really just focus on the combat. And the combat was fun. It definitely was fast-paced. I think as the game comes out of early access and we get to see more of these leaders, unit cards, and abilities, it's going to get really interesting. And especially what they mentioned there where you earn money to be able to customize those cards. That sounds really fun. Almost like maybe when we played Shogun 2, for instance, and you had custom veterans and stuff. I don't know exactly what they have in mind with it. They said, though, that as you earn that money, you can customize the card. And that sounds like a lot of fun because each player can kind of build into a strategy that suits them. Look at this. These guys just keep picking at me. So I'm bringing in aircraft from across the map. I'm going to keep going after their ground units that appear to be shooting at me. I'm going to ignore those larger mechs. Their tanks are absolutely decimating my tanks. So I just, like I said, I've had almost no luck with my ground forces. Their ground forces just appear to be very superior. So I'm going to keep picking at their buildings. But yeah, anyway, I got high hopes for this one. I've really liked Blackbird's work in the past, especially Deserts of Karak. Deserts of Karak was an absolute beauty. It still is a beauty, in case you're looking for another fun RTS to play on Steam. And I think y'all should go try this one out. Again, it's a free demo. You really don't have much to lose. I got the link in the description. Go check this one out. Do them a favor. Give them some feedback and see if it's an RTS game that you would enjoy. I could see it being something I like. I kind of like the futuristic genre and the setting that this is in. And like I said, just that classic RTS feel has been a lot of fun. Anyway, I'll let this play out so you all can watch the last few minutes of battle without me talking. But I do appreciate you taking the time to watch the video today. I appreciate Blackbird for giving me an opportunity to play this, and I wish him luck in the development. I'll make sure to go in and add some feedback of my own, and I appreciate them giving me an opportunity to try out a new game. So thank you to them, and appreciate them sponsoring the video, and I will see you all soon with some more content on the channel. Again, go check out Crossfire Legion. It's around from the 21st to the 28th, and there'll be another one in April where you can play it, but I've got the link to the Steam page. You can go check it out and try it yourself. Heir of Carthage signing out. Enjoy the rest of the battle here.
Make it happen.
New Javelin reporting for duty.
Make it happen.
New Javelin reporting for duty. Target locked. Send it. Barrage on target. New Javelin reporting for duty. Send it. Gunship here. Heavy guns locked and loaded. New Javelin reporting for duty. Barrage incoming to target cords. New Morning Star has left the hangar. Gunship here.
Discipline brings victory.